Hi, it's Steve and Joe. And Steve, we're in our new place.
Yeah.
Moved offices, just to make it exciting for you guys.
Big exciting news. Yes, Fresh Agenda relocated about a kilometre away, we think.
If that.
Not far. Anyway, so...
Same but different.
Yeah. That's why we didn't come to you last week, because we had a real mess in the office. But we're getting there, tidying this one up.
So this week we're back with a GDT event that was probably more uneventful than the move.
Yeah, well, that's not hard. We're going to talk about some trade and the usual favourite chart of the week.
Yeah, sure.
So kicking off with GDT, look, I'll get back to this, not much news is good news. The world being ravaged by a pandemic, struggling to shake that off. And you've good supporting fundamentals in the Northern Hemisphere, which is helping this a lot. You can see there the changes across products. And just a new little feature I added this time, Joe, which when I eventually pulled it together, it wasn't all that interesting. But just showing what happened in April and how that compares to other Aprils, the previous April. So we are, at a much elevated price, I guess, and that's something that in the background, still strong Oceania prices.
Sure, especially for fats there.
Yeah. So, we've got protein steadily lifting, we've got butterfats rising, with tightening European supplies.
Yeah, which we'll talk about
a
bit later on.
That's right. US product is not really in play here for butterfat,
no.
But it is, the supportive EU environment is certainly helping keep Oceania values higher. Just something I pulled out as well, which I think is interesting about, there's all the talk's been about China driving up whole milk powder with this strong demand. As you can see in that bottom chart there, that year-on-year buying activity is a lot stronger. But, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? So the supportive values of fat and protein have been rising just slightly ahead of this.
Yeah.
As you can see, that synthetic calculation down the bottom there, showing that, it's the lift in butterfat, particularly AMF, which is more, the substitute value if you're looking at synthetic makeup value, that has certainly supported that. So whole milk powder wouldn't rise alone if it wasn't for the fact that there's strong support from the two component values.
That's right. And that bottom right chart just shows that the whole milk price and the synthetic whole milk price is actually fairly close over time. So, that's all consistent. And also we've got Chinese buyers. So it's a bit of both, it looks like. Yeah,
the synthetic value tends to lead, and it tends to be higher. And whole milk has been lower, and I guess that's overall there are some parts of the market that are still weak.
Sure.
Southeast Asia's been weak, MENA's been quite weak, so that's kept that value weaker.
Yeah.
Than the theoretical. So anyway, an interesting comparison. So demand was a little softer on average. We had dominance by the Chinese buyers again, returning to the fore with both over 3/4 of the volume sold, with slightly higher volume sold. And when we look at fats, while the values are pretty strong, they're not out of order with where we've been in prior years at this time.
Yeah, that's interesting, that seasonal rise, apart from obviously last year when we had COVID hitting, that this time of year on GDT those fat prices do tend to rise.
Yeah, after the hollow later in the, these are, we should point out, these are seasonal charts. That's the New Zealand season.
From June
through to May. Yeah. With the peak in the middle, so 24 is the final event of the calendar year.
Yep.
Okay. We've added up February data, which is finalised. We had European data drop pretty recently. Overall trade pretty flat after a disappointing January. Powder's up strongly, and we can see at the product level, these aren't leap year adjusted, which is more of a task in the way we pull this together. But powder's strong, fat's very weak.
Yeah.
Cheese still weak. And, we're seeing a bit of substitution, fat-filled product coming in more strongly now. And that's a recent turn, I guess, towards that.
So those high-fat values really putting the brakes on trade.
Yeah. So that's a high-level view of that, and
More to come, just a teaser
just a teaser. We'll be adding this up and
for
doing
subscribers.
the full analysis. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Jo, over to you.
Chat of the week, I thought we'd hop across to Europe. Obviously, leading up to spring peak of production, but fairly cold weather hitting large parts of some of those major producing regions in France in particular, where it's been a lot of crop damage reported, and it looks like it might be having starting to have an effect on production with that latest weekly data. So. Again, in terms of fundamentals, that's keeping the market pretty tight, potentially, isn't it?
Slow start to spring.
Sure.
If at all.
If spring even comes.
Yeah. So most of that cold weather has passed and we're back to normal, but it's, we're in the second half of April before it's normalising, so that's not what they wanted.
No.
In terms of milk growth, but.
That's right, and presumably that crop damage will lead to some higher input prices. So, tough times for European farmers.
Well, that's a pretty healthy wrap. I think that's probably it from us.
Yeah, we'll probably come from another part of the office.
Yeah,
next time.
it'll be like a virtual tour. We'll just come from different parts of the setup we have here, which is bigger than what we had before. More diverse, different rooms. Should be fun.